Hey there, welcome in. My name's Josh, and today we're going to be talking about how I went from this to this in a year. Short answer, I cheated. Long answer, a little more complicated. So, what we're going to be talking about today is our relationship with art and our relationship with cheating and what cheating means and how that relates to concept art as a whole. We're going to be talking about photo textures, 3D, photo bashing, all that stuff. So, the individual techniques about how I actually cheated, how I got there, how I improved that fast, all that will be coming in tutorials a little bit later. But today we're just talking about the fundamentals. Today we're talking about our foundation. Today we're talking about our relationship with art. Okay, so if our view of art is so hugely important, like massively important, like huge, like A+, like top tier, god tier important, what is art? We have to have an answer. Okay, well, as we all know, obviously, art is awesome. Done. Easy, you already knew that. Ta-da. Okay, art's awesome. Cool. But, okay, so if art is awesome, then what is awesome? Awesome is subjective. That's tricky. Also a bit of a duh thing, right? But if awesome is subjective, then why is that important? Why is it so important that this definition of art, right? Art equals awesome, awesome equals subjective. Like, why does that matter? Is because in this definition of art, it establishes that all artists everywhere in the world, man, woman, child, alien, what have you, they're all using everything they can to make their art be the awesomest that it can be the absolute top tier, god tier that it could possibly be. They're using everything. They're using sticks, they're using stones, they're using clay, they're using stylus, they're using Copics. They're so expensive. They're doing everything they can to create their subjective version of awesome, what awesome looks like to them, and they're using any and every tool they can get their hands on to make that happen. But here's the catch. There's a stigma in the art community over what tools an artist can or can't use. This is where we get to references, we get to photo textures, we get to 3D, we get to all of this assortment of other things that are potentially hot button issues in different parts of the art community, because all artists everywhere, especially beginners, when I was starting out, I got this all the time, like I was like head over heels for Naruto. Naruto was like awesome. Naruto was the bomb.com. Naruto was the bee's knees. It was the coolest thing that I could wrap my little middle school head around, right? And I knew like nothing of art and nothing of it at all. So I would trace from the manga, right? And I would, being a little brat that middle schoolers, are, be like, hey, look, I drew this, and be like, no, you didn't, like, shut up, you traced it. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, right. And I should feel a little bit ashamed because I lied. Because I didn't draw, I traced.
Yeah!
So then I would use a reference, and I would pause on the episode that I was on in the anime, or I would, have the manga right next to me and look at it, and I would just agonize over staring at that reference, getting those super sexy 3/4 shots that like everybody does all the time. Your 3/4 profiles, I was love. That was me, And then all of a sudden there'd be like a straight on, and I was like, shoot, I can only do 3/4. All right, anyway, so I was doing that, and I want to show people, and they'd be like, oh yeah, it's pretty good. Did you use a reference? And I'd be like, oh, yeah, and I get dismissed again. It's like, oh, you didn't just poop that out of your brain? Well, you're not a real artist. You used a reference. So I was like, oh, piss. But meanwhile, all the cute girls in art class aren't using references, so, and I wanted to impress them, but that didn't work. And it destroyed me. And I, put art down until after college. Okay, so that's me, right? That's my little story of references, right? And how there's tons of other people who've had super, super similar stories to me like that, And it's like, well, what do you do? It's like, it feels like that unless, you're, born on third base and born a genius, you're hosed, because you can't just poop it out of your head. Shoot. Anyway, but how this relates to today's world, right, is that a lot of people still have that. All the people who told me what they did, they're still alive. It's not like they're dead, and they still have the opinions that they do. And that's why concept art as a whole, as a genre, as a subgenre of art, right, is looked down upon, because all concept art is just a bunch of super, super, super cheeky, clever photo bashing and paint overs, and they're getting away with it because they're geniuses. That's all it is. They're a bunch of dirty cheaters. And it's awesome. They're not tracing. They're not me in middle school. They're not doing that, no. But they are using photos. They're using photo textures. They're using 3D. They're using a ton of references in all of their paintings. Now, why? Why? The reason is that in the industry, speed is the name of the game. All it is. They don't have time to go through and make every single thing by hand, and they are just cranking out these super, super, super cool pieces that Joe Blows like you and me, we look at and we're like, that's amazing, that's awesome, we like lose our mind, right? So they're a bunch of dirty cheaters, and they're getting away with it, and they're making all this cool stuff, and it's like, are you allowed to do that? Like, I want to do that, but he used a photo texture. Okay, so if concept artists are doing this, and it's like, well, do we have permission to do that? Short answer is yes. Totally 100% you do. Because again, art equals awesome, and awesome equals subjective, so if it looks awesome to you, then do it, and there's nobody who says that you can't. You know? So why does this make a difference, though? Because for the concept art mentality, anything goes as long as the finished work is awesome. You know, it's a super, super common mistake, you know, and a misconception, that if you use photo textures in 3D, it'll instantly make you like a god. It'll instantly make you amazing. It'll instantly make you top tier. That's just not true. Like, if you don't have the foundation, if you don't have the skills, it's just gonna look like a really, really, really bad graphic design class. It's not a replacement for fundamentals, for traditional like techniques for like shading and color and light and, you know, everything else that everybody wants to skip because it's boring and they just want to draw cool stuff, right? So the thing is that if a concept artist doesn't have a grasp of the fundamentals and the traditional techniques that they're trying to skip so bad, they won't know how to use their new bag of tricks, and their work will look worse. Because basically, photo bashing and photo textures and 3D and all that stuff and references, they're all like tools to have in your tool belt, but they have to be like earned and learned before they can be used. But most importantly, you know, to say that tool belt, to say that those techniques, photo bashing, photo textures, 3D, all that, even references, they know that they're cheating, it implies this purest artistic standard in a definition that's like really, really hard to like identify. Like, I mean, we even have memes about it, like, what is art? You know, like, this is when people like rage over stupid things that they don't think are awesome, that, quote, professionals label as awesome and then label it as art. It's like, so where do you draw the line of what art is? Like, only traditional? Okay, so only pencil? What about ink? What about Copics? Well, can you do digital? Okay, but digital, but don't use Photoshop. Okay, but you can use Photoshop, but don't use custom brushes, don't use stamps. Or you can use brushes, but you have to make them yourself. It's like where do you draw the line? Like, you can't let Photoshop be Photoshop. Alright, because at the end of the day, you guys, our value and our worth and who we are as people and human beings, it's not determined by our artistic ability or if we do or don't use references. Like, it's just not. Like, your worth and who you are as a human being is not determined, but that's not wrapped up in that. You're not any less of a human being because you use a reference. You're not any more of a human being because you didn't use a reference. You might have more knowledge as an artist. You might be a more knowledgeable artist. You might be a more advanced artist if you don't use a reference. But just because you're more of an advanced artist doesn't make you worth more as a human being. You're already intrinsically amazing and infinitely awesome. So you just, like, get this pressure off of you that you feel like you have to be top tier, god tier, and, like, deprave yourself of awesome things in your tool belt because you feel like that you're not allowed to use them. That seems silly to me.
Hello YouTube! So nice to finally meet you. My name's Josh. That was my first video ever. That was the channel video. That was pretty much everything I am wrapped up in a nutshell. That's me. I hope you liked it. If you want more of it, you can like and comment and subscribe and all the stuff that everybody's supposed to be doing on YouTube anyway. It always kind of weirded me out though, you know, plugging yourself at the end of the video like that, because I always thought that if the video was good enough, you would just think to do that automatically and you wouldn't actually have to be told how to do it. But then I was reading online somewhere else that somebody said that they actually like it when you do that because it reminds them to do it because otherwise they would forget. So, I mean, if that's you, hey, do the stuff if you like me because that would be awesome so I can keep making content for you so you can keep learning art so you cannot suck because sucking really, really sucks. And that's what the channel is about, not sucking at art because nothing sucks more than sucking. So if you like this stuff and you like this channel and you like me, you might want to check out my Patreon. My Patreon has more goodies. It has exclusive videos that only patrons get every single week that goes from white canvas to finished piece. All of my stuff on YouTube you can think of as puzzle pieces that are individual and succinct and awesome, and they're tied with a bow and they look really neat, but then I take all of those things and I apply them and put them together step by step for you over on Patreon. So if you like that, there's a link somewhere around here, I'm sure, to get to my Patreon. And just as a thank you for even just taking the time to click and to look at who I am as a person, as a creator, I made a free comic for you over there on said Patreon for you to look at. It's just talking about the fastest way for you to learn, the fastest way for you to grow and have that info stick, and long-term memory so you can actually remember it and not kind of, not. And that brings me to the end. That was it. That was my whole spiel. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you like, comment, subscribe, go over to Patreon, all the good stuff. And I hope to see you next time so that we can help you actually do this art thing that you want to do and have it stop being this really intimidating beast that you don't know what to do with. See you next time.